Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football, heading to the Week 4 slate, and this is a very intriguing game as Rutgers heads on the road to Michigan. Now, as a Michigan fan, I remember the last time Rutgers came into the Big House, they gave Michigan, a very good Michigan team, I might add, all they could handle, and this is a Rutgers team it started the season 3-0, and it's not like the Rutgers that many people are familiar with. This is a team that runs the football at a high level, plays really good defense. Kind of excited to get into some of these matchups. Now, before we do, again, just want to say thank you to you guys. The support you guys have shown for all these game breakdowns truly has been phenomenal. The Rutgers fans let me have it for taking Virginia Tech in the points last week. They were right. This Rutgers team, I was sleeping on them a little bit. This is a very good Rutgers team. Excited to get into it. Let us know how you guys are feeling down in the comment section. Dill, without further ado, I'm going to kick this one off to you. Michigan hosting Rutgers. How are we feeling here?
I mean, I think it's safe to say Michigan dictates this outcome. I mean, if Michigan plays really well, Rutgers really shouldn't be a problem for Michigan. But I will say, if Michigan doesn't play like a really solid, clean game, Rutgers is that team that they don't come in scared of big teams. Greg Schiano really does get those guys very ready to play the Michigans, the Ohio States, the Penn States, and they play them tough, they play them hard, and they don't quit. So this is, again, like, yes, Michigan overmatches this team at most positions, but Rutgers is going to play them really tough, and I think we will get a good feel of probably how good Michigan is, because Rutgers is going to – they're not afraid of them.
Rutgers is one of those teams, like the way Rutgers is at least playing right now, good defense, a really good run game. If Michigan makes some mistakes, like you might only see the ball 4 or 5 times in a half, and you could be going into the locker room like only up 3 or down. You know what I mean? Like it could be one of those games that you look up at the scoreboard at halftime, and it's a one-possession game where Rutgers is in the thick of things. Greg Schiano has this program just going in the right direction fast. I think this is a team that goes 6-6 plus, makes a bowl game this year from what I saw 2 days ago against Virginia Tech. Dill, I want to start with the Rutgers offense going up against the Michigan defense, where from a matchup standpoint, you like where Michigan stands. This is a Rutgers team that running the football at a very high level. Gavin Wimsatt, really nice job with his legs, averaging almost 5 yards per carry as a team. Going up against the Michigan defense that's only allowing 2.6 yards per carry, and the Michigan front seven has been a massive bright spot throughout the first 3 games.
I mean, the way Michigan's playing on defensive line has me exceedingly excited because, like, last year I thought they were good up front. I didn't think they were like great. I mean, right now the way they're playing is it's that type of suffocating football where even if, again, their offense isn't really playing great, they're putting them in bad spots at times. Bowling Green in every team Michigan's pretty much played just can't get anything going on offense just because this defensive line, it's dominating football games. And honestly, I think it starts in the middle with Chris Jenkins, who is, I don't see how he's not going to be a first-round talent. I mean,
has to be.
He's that athletic, that strong, that big. He's just like feels to me like the whole package, and just how much better he's gotten over his time at Michigan, really unreal. And then frankly, the 2 young guys coming along in Grant and Mason Graham, who are, I mean, we all knew Mason Graham was good. He played really good last year. Kenneth Grant does look like a new piece that's just, I mean, he's playing at an extraordinarily high level and really rushing the passer extremely well, which, again, you think back to last year, Michigan really didn't generate pressure constantly with their front four. And right now, the way this interior especially is playing has me wildly pumped.
And it's so deep too. Like, and we talk about this a lot, like being able to cycle guys. This is a team that was pretty solid up front last year and pretty much returns everyone besides Mozzie Smith and Yabioki. Like those are the only 2 guys that were big time contributors that were losing. The depth is nuts. So, right, Chris Jenkins, Mason Graham, Anthony Graham, Rayshon Benny's coming along. Cam Good. Like Cam Good's playing some really good football. Then you look at the edge, it's a laundry list of guys that can step up and are also like those edge guys from Michigan. Like, don't get enough credit for how solid they are in the run game. And so you're looking at a front four for Michigan that is dominant. And then you have a bunch of athletic linebackers that fly around the field. Junior Colson, I mean, ask me how many linebackers I'm taking over Junior Colson across college football. Not many. Ernest Hausen, Mikey Barrett. Front seven's really good. And you're going to get a good sense of like how dominant this Michigan defense is, especially in the front seven against a Rutgers team that can run the football. Now, my problem with Rutgers, it's a very one-dimensional offense. I think a lot of Rutgers fans would agree. Gavin Wimsatt, like as good as he is with his legs, only completing 50% of his balls, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, which is good. But some Michigan secondary that, they need to be on their P's and Q's, but I'm not sure how much you're afraid of Gavin Wimsatt pushing the ball down the field here.
Yeah, and that will be the thing. It's like we'll see from Michigan how good they are in the front seven. Rutgers maybe will try to hit a play like they did last year, frankly, with wins,
Yep.
and they were able to do it. So you can't leave guys open. I do hope Rod Moore and Will Johnson do play a little bit more in this football game. Obviously, that feels like they're kind of holding them out in preparation for the Big Ten. So I'd like to see them back just for the sake of seeing the complete defense and how good they are. But it will be the test will be like, is this defensive line as good as I think they are? And right now, I think they're incredible. So I'm looking for, dominant football game front to back.
All right, now let's get into the ugly of Saturday, and that was the Michigan offense. That was it. My take on it is like you see so many people on Twitter, especially the Ohio State fans, just like dogging JJ McCarthy. And he obviously did not play very good against Bowling Green. I think there was an element of him just trying to do too much. Like you started seeing like the Heisman buzz, the top 10 NFL draft pick buzz. And I think maybe that was kind of in the back of his head saying like, I got to play up to that level. And if there is a play to be made, I have to be making it, forcing some throws down the field. For this, like this is a good Rutgers defense. Again, 2.5 yards per carry, 52% completion percentage given up. Like they've been absolutely nails. I'm looking for JJ to get back to form, getting back to completing those easy passes over the middle, pushing the ball down the field. And another thing I'm looking for, and I'll let you kind of add on to this, I want to see Michigan continue to maul up front. And the first two games, and I probably holding Michigan's offensive line to maybe an unfair standard where it's like if we're not getting 7 yards per carry, like that's a negative play for Michigan. That being said, what you saw against Bowling Green, like they were just reestablishing the line of scrimmage, a lot of running lanes open for Donnie Edwards and Blake Corum. I'd like to see that continued. And then JJ just finding that rhythm again, pushing the ball down the field. If we see that, I'll be very, very happy about that Michigan offense.
Yeah, it really was nice to see that running game kind of come along and go back to dominating, especially as their passing attack really kind of couldn't get anything going at any point. The one really disappointing thing I thought from last night is that they never really snapped out of it on the passing attack. I mean, it pretty much was the whole game very choppy, like just couldn't really ever find the rhythm back. And I get maybe you have a couple bad drives, but I do wish maybe you would have seen them pick it up a little bit in the second half.
I wonder if there's an element of having Jim Harbaugh back on the field. Like we all know his connection with, and that's no knock on Sharon Moore, who is the acting head coach, but you know how special the relationship is between JJ and Jim. And if Jim was there to kind of settle him down and kind of get him kind of a little bit recentered, like you'd feel good about that.
They also got attacked in the middle of the field again.
Yes,
you're right. I think you mentioned it, but everything it did feel a little bit like everyone got a little scared. Like everything started to go to the outside. They were throwing a lot of hitches and just not the way that I think you saw Michigan really working the ball all around the field in the first couple of games. I mean, they should be able to throw into the middle because again, you need to respect that rushing attack. Safeties need to respect it. Linebackers need to respect it. So to not get anything going across the middle with the wide receivers, especially Roman and Cornelius, who've done an excellent job working that portion of the field. I do wish we just like got to see them play the same type of offense, even though things weren't going well. It did feel like they deviated a little bit from what was working, especially in the passing attack.
That was something we talked about. We'd want to see a little bit more. Like when you have such an elite rushing attack, like work the play action off of it, especially towards that middle of the field where, again, you're going to have to roll safety down in the box. Linebackers are thinking run first. You're kind of sucking them up. That's why we're getting so much space in that middle of the field.
I mean, Loveland needs to get more targets. Like when he's so good for them and to really only get one that stands out to me, it's just not enough. That's the one disappointing thing I thought from Saturday. Because again, I kind of get like you have a bad game and still blow a team out. That's very nice to see. But it isn't like ideal to not see your offense be able to kind of snap out of it. Because again, if you play like that against good teams, Rutgers is probably that type of team.
Dylan, I'll ask you this before we get to the pick. Like, how many better defenses are we going to see than Rutgers this year? Like Penn State, Ohio State. Outside of that, that's how good I think this. And I have some concerns that I've voiced about the Rutgers offense, but I really do think this defense is really dominant, and this will be a nice test because I don't think we're going to see that many better deep. Nebraska would probably throw in there too. They've been playing some good ball, but outside of those, like this is probably one of the better defenses that Michigan will play all year. So kind of excited to see them operate their offense against a very formidable Rutgers defense. Now getting to the pick, my take on it, and this is not a game, I don't really bet on Michigan games anyways, but this is not a game that if I'm Michigan, I'm rushing to bet on because it's a Rutgers team that can muck up a game, like run the football, kind of control the time of possession, play some good defense. You've seen like the Sharps are really respecting Rutgers. That line opened up at 31. It's down to 24. I think people who've been keeping up with Rutgers like know this team is a legit solid Big Ten team. Dill, any like feels for that spread there?
I mean, the fact that they had it coming in around 30 or so is
I'm a Michigan fan. Would have taken Rutgers.
Do they not remember how good Shiano had these teams going in 2009? And it's like, again, he is kind of building it back up into a team that,
agreed.
Yeah, from the past couple of years before him, it was horrific and they really couldn't play well. But Shiano really does feel like a perfect fit at Rutgers. It almost feels like his home now. He gets this team to play really, really hard. And against good teams, he figures out a couple you're right. He mucks it up. He makes a couple special teams plays I'd like to add to your list of things they do well. It's not a game that's an easy win. And I mean, 24 maybe is around where I'd expect it to come in at, but like,
30.
yeah, I'm not wasting a bet at 30 is crazy.
Yeah, and I think one other thing to add is like it does feel like he's gotten his guys in there. You know, like Rutgers, when he took that job, like there's a lot of wood to be chopped. He's chopping that wood, and it does seem like heading into the 2023 season, like some of the guys are in place to like be a very competitive team.
And the culture, because he's like, I mean, that like when he gets some believing, and you're right, the chopping wood going back to the early 2000s Rutgers and their mantras, and he's got something going. It's again like, are they enough right now to really go bang with the big dogs? If the big dogs play well, I don't think so. But they're moving in the right direction. And if you're a good team, you don't want to play them on a bad day because
100%. Michigan can't afford a bad day on Saturday. All right, appreciate you guys rocking with the boys. Again, if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Rutgers fans, you're allowed to give me some stuff down in the comment section for fading Rutgers last week. Appreciate you guys rocking with the boys, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.